Welcome, Kern.
Hi, Tim.
Great to meet you today, and thanks for taking the time to talk with us. You were mentioning a little bit before we came on. Let's go ahead and just kind of set the stage first. If you can tell me a little bit about your trading journey and what led you to TVP. So how long have you been trading, and how did you end up signing up with Trade the Pool specifically?
So I started trading about 3 years ago,
Hmm.
and at the good young age of 59. So it's been a journey, and been looking at different strategies, but it's the only the last 6 months or at least 1 year I really found a strategy on my edge, basically.
Hmm.
And so I've I've been trading my own account with a couple different brokers. But
Hmm.
then I started also looking at um, if there were any prop firms, seeing that I also had experience, and I think that I found my edge. I was looking around at if there were any prop firms that were dealing with equity stocks,
Hmm.
and looked,
Not a
and
lot, right?
there's a lot dealing with foreign exchange, but
Hmm. Yep.
not stocks, and
Yep.
especially stocks that are small caps, hard to borrow.
Hmm.
Um, there's not a lot of companies out there. So I joined you guys. I did a couple. So trading your own account and trading with trader pool, sometimes you have to shift your thinking a bit. So I've gone through a few accounts, but
Hmm.
finally I kind of got the gist of trader pool methodology, and
Hmm.
finally within a couple of weeks' time, I passed the last trading challenge.
That's great. And yeah, I think that depending on your trading style and your experience, you might have to make some small changes with the rules, but I think also that it opens the door to a lot of opportunities as well, and there's nothing stopping you from running both in parallel, of course, as you've mentioned.
That, like
So what was it that took you from trading in your own account to deciding to so you said you had a background in finance already, like what got you to start trading in the first place, and then what was the point at which you said, oh, I need to start looking for a funded trading firm or more capital, or what brought you to that point?
so I'm a CPA, okay,
Hmm.
and I have been in the banking industry, risk management, because of a back situation. I had to retire. I've had
Mm.
four, no, five operations on my back.
Oh, wow.
So, so I couldn't do the traveling and stuff, and realized that, hey, you know what? Life doesn't end at retirement. Okay.
Mm.
At 59, retiring, there's a whole other life ahead. And
Wow, that's a great way to look at it.
I started looking at trading. You could look at your situation and cry, put your head in the sand. But,
Hmm.
you got to look up and think, like, what's next? And so I started looking into trading. And but one of the things I also looked at also, which was very impactful, was that even though you have at 59 you have a pension, like, was there something else that you could do to supplement that pension?
Hmm.
And I looked at some investment options, and basically, to get just 5%, you would have to put down a pretty substantial amount of money, okay, with an
Hmm.
investment company and get 5%. Some
Hmm.
of them require a minimum of $500,000, okay,
Yep.
and they guarantee you 25,000 a year, which is, when you divide it by the trading days, that's like basically $96 a day trading
Hmm.
day on 500,000 capital, okay.
Yep.
So
So at
that's
that point,
not
you said, "Oh, let me try my own hand. I bet I could make $90." Is that kind of how it
exactly.
went? The thought process? Yeah.
So, in my own account, like, so it took some time to really understand trading is not for everybody. You got to find your edge. You got to find out what type of trading is your personality. Okay,
Hmm.
and of course, there's
Now,
not
with
a lot of
the trading you were doing in your personal account, was that just stocks, or was that futures, forex? Were you sticking to equities, and was
just
that
equities,
shares, options? Like,
shares. So
okay,
I'm very focused on one strategy. Okay,
okay.
So one strategy. So coming back to the point of how did I turn to trader pool? So one of the things like I've been looking at is like sizing up on my own
Hmm.
account. But when you size up, of course, there's a risk of oversizing. So I thought, hey, look, maybe there's an option where I could split my trade, split my risk. So instead of sizing
Hmm.
up, size down on two accounts, but have the same
Hmm.
sort of profit targets. So that's one of the reasons why I started looking at another option, and trade the pool seemed to be one of the best. In fact, it's the only one that I find out there that suits my style of trading and
Hmm.
my type of strategy.
And what how did you even know that there was that the funded trading was an option out there? Like, is that something that you'd heard about before, or you were just kind of
So
looking around for different options to get capital or to get, you know?
So I've been looking at a couple, prop firms in terms of, SMB and some of those other guys, and just reading, looking at their websites and stuff. So it sort of intrigued me to, hey, look, maybe I should look at just widen the scope a bit. But it took some time. I finally found you guys, and I'm glad I did.
That's that's great. And what was it on the the information that you could find about Trade the Pool that made you decide to try it out? Like, what was it that appealed to you for your strategy?
So two things: one, focus on stocks. Secondly, the locates hard to borrow locates. Okay, for
Hmm.
shorting stocks. Those are the
Yep.
two key factors, really. And I would say, like, trade the pool is second to none when it comes to the hard to borrow stocks because it ties in well with my strategy. I'm a
Okay.
small cap trader. Uh,
Hmm.
I, I like I know Tim and some of the other guys. They trade a lot of large caps. I mean, Michael and you guys trade a lot of the large caps, indices, etc.
Hmm.
Um, I understand the small caps world. I've been doing it for
Yep.
3 years.
Hmm.
So it's more in terms of I'm a scalper, and
Hmm.
that's kind of like these stocks eventually they're gonna fail, and that's kind of like what I'm looking for.
Gotcha.
Yep,
So
yep,
let's take a look at your account really quickly here. Yeah, it looks like your best stock was CLDX. And
yeah,
if we go
that's
down
for
here
sure.
a little bit, we've got. Let's go ahead and look at this kind of timeline here. And how did this play out for you? Looks like you had a strong start, and then you had to kind of grind for a while.
So in the middle of that trend there, I went into the hospital for back surgery. So almost
Mm.
5 days in the middle of that, I was undergoing
Oh wow.
surgery in a hospital. So that kind of
Hmm.
threw me off a bit. But
And was that here or here, or were you trading a little bit through it, or were you out
no, the
completely?
five days I was completely out of it.
Oh wow. So you
So
had
they were,
obviously a lot of discomfort, a lot of I guess lack of mobility,
yep,
kind of a surprise. You started out it looks like and when you started, that was between your initial injury and having the surgery, right?
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it looks like you started out strong despite that. I mean, were you waiting for a good moment? Were you just able to kind of trade through it? How did that play out? And then at what point did you decide to take a break going into the surgery, or did you come out of it and say, okay, I'm not, I'm a little woozy here. Let me wait.
So struggling through the initial few weeks, I took my time. I basically paced myself. No huge trades,
Hmm.
size down. Didn't go all day. Stopped at a particular time, and just choose my
Yep.
moments. And then when I realized I
Yeah.
had to do the
Initially, you had
surgery,
some like boom, boom, boom. You had like three big ones,
yeah,
and then here you're just like dip, 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 dip. And that's good because these, you can actually see these started falling off and
yep,
then climbing up, give it a little bit up of again. But because those were smaller, you kept most of your,
yep,
that initial big win or that initial strong start. You didn't give
yeah.
that up and have to fight your way back. So that's great.
The key, really, Tim, I realize in passing the evaluation is really the sizing.
Hmm.
You cannot win it on one trade. It's got to be,
No.
step by step. You could take multiple trades, but I would try to tell anybody who's listening, you need to size down. You need to size
Hmm.
down. After you pass the evaluation and you pass the 30% rule on the funded account, then that's different. But even without it, but even within the funded 30% rule, you're not going to with the funded 30% rule, you're not going to make huge trades in any case because 30% of your profits can come from one trade. So it doesn't make sense sizing up, right? So it's
Well,
much
and the
better to,
funded in the funded, there's actually in the standard funded, we don't have the 30% restriction.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Um, oh,
Yeah,
oh, oh,
that's
gotcha.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You in the funded it's fine, but in the
Hmm.
evaluation, you in any case don't size up to the tent to make all your profits in one trade because in any case it's not going to
Yep.
pass. So the key is really
Yep. Yeah,
taking
because what the
small
firm
bite
wants to
sizes.
see is the whole point is to show that consistency, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, exactly. It's there's no point trying to do it in one. Yeah, cool. So yeah, so how did that play out for you? Did you encounter any interesting moments there? Was there, was this purely just from dealing with the surgery, or were you encountering any kind of strategy challenge right here?
No, it was just basically your life circumstance at the time, and I just closed
Hmm.
my computer for a week, 2 weeks, 7 days or
Yep.
whatever, close it and
Hmm.
just say, hey, you know what, I need to deal with this and just get it over with because I knew I had to be
Yep.
going in and just
Hmm.
got it over with. And when I came out, took it slow again, little bit by little bit, and got through the
Hmm.
challenge.
Yep. And this is, I mean, overall, yeah, 20th to 26th. So you didn't have to do an extension or anything. You just,
No,
it was still in one go, but you took that time to take care of yourself, right?
yep, you got it. The biggest, the
Terrific.
biggest look, the biggest challenge in trading, if you have your strategy, if you have your edge, really the biggest challenge
Hmm.
is yourself. That's really the one
Absolutely.
you've got to conquer.
Well, that's great. And so let's, on that note, yeah, let's look at the funded as well, real quick. Again, you're still, even here, you had a tough trade. We can talk about it if you want, but you're still in the green. You've still got some cash there, and you've still built up a little bit of room to work with. So now this is interesting here because you had a initial profit, took some hits, grinding your way up, and then an initial hit, a couple trades down here. What happened here? And then you had this strong push up here. What was this guy here? This 2,600, 2,700.
That was a pre-market
Mm,
short that I took. One trade took me out, then I restarted and it took me out again. I got to learn that
mm,
hey, when it takes you out, just leave it alone. But sometimes that
mm,
struggle is there to keep trying to make back. But
mm.
you got to be able to put your rules in place. Hey, I'm out for the day. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done.
I guess I'm noticing here you had this nice win here, and then again, then you're kind of grinding. So it looks like you took that win and took that lesson to heart from before, where you said, okay, I got my big win. Now let me kind of grind my way up more, use that as my base, right? And that's
Yes,
great.
yes,
And then you
yes.
had a little bit of a hit here. Looks like you had
Yeah.
2K. Was that what you were talking about, where the short in the
Yep.
morning
Yep.
happened?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
and this is great too because you took that hit and then you're like, okay, let me grind my way back. I found so many times like trying
yeah.
to get it back quickly. It's
That's not going to work.
and
Yeah.
then came back up here this plateau. Did you find this plateau like getting to this point here because you kind of reached your previous level and then took that hit? Like, do you find any pressure to now I'm back at my level? Let me push it up from here, or is this just sort of
So,
circumstantial that this?
so I should have walked away this morning at when the market opened. So I should have walked this morning. I was pretty up. I got back. I basically was down this morning pre-market. Then I got all the way back
Hmm.
up, plus $400 on my daily. I
Hmm.
was down 50. I was down actually 18, and I got plus 400. And then I should have
Hmm.
just walked, but I just went at it again. I see WHLR moving, and I just went at it. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, we've talked about that a couple. I mean, I relate to that a lot. That's something that's one of my rules that I'm trying to learn to to live by is if I've taken a hit and I get back to where I was a little bit in the green from where I took the hit, yeah, take that break because often it's the same thing when you get people saving up to purchase the challenge or maybe they have either life circumstances or a technical issue on sign up, or they've just been waiting a while to take the plunge and do it. And they're like, all right, I've got my challenge account. I'm going to get started. I'm going to pass this thing. Right. And you're so impatient to get started and you blow up. Or on the funded, right? Like, all right, I've got funded. Now it's time to make the real money. Let's go. Right. And, same thing with the if you take a hit, then I'm like, oh no, I was on a good path. I've taken a hit, and I'm impatient to get back, right? And you can't have that impatience. You have to, each trade has to be on its own, right? So
Exactly. And trying to make back losses in the same day just doesn't work. You've got to be
and
able
we
to.
talk about that from the like the neuropsychology standpoint in the Discord. We talk about the prospect theory, right? Like your whole mental system is wired that once you get that initial win, um, because you get that big move up, now you're in the green or whatever, but now you want to feel like you're making progress again, and taking that step away, like touching grass, it helps you reset and realize, okay, I'm making money here. I can go slowly. So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah, that's a really good insight, and I'm glad to hear you're kind of in a good place there. So
yeah.
and yeah, so what do you when you do take a step away, when you go to reset? What's your favorite kind of technique when you're not trading? What do you use to be refreshed when you do come back to trading? Any
But
mhm.
walking and just relaxing, reading and watching movies. Also play with my grandkids. I've got three grandkids. So take the
Oh
time
wow.
out to go and see them, have them over, and just spend time with family.
Family is super important. Well, that's great. So, and yeah, on that note, let me let you have some time to to spend with them there. So, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me here, and congratulations again on passing.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing what happens next on your funded account. So,
And thank you, Trader Pool. You've given a good opportunity to many traders.
and that's what we like to hear. The goal is really to build these kind of long term uh, trading relationships. So if that works out for you, and you're able to build on that and provide those insights as well, then that's what we like to hear. So
Thank you.
it's wonderful. So, all right, terrific. Thanks again, and good luck in the market.
Okay.